Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 24. Today's devotion, these verses, Christ is addressing or continuing to address the hypocrisy of false spirituality and worldliness. Now, before we get started, probably a good idea to go over some definitions. The word treasure here is going to be used as a possession that we fix ourselves on, and it actually shapes our lives and our will. The heart is used figuratively here to use our thoughts and our feelings, our mind and our will. And the eye is also used figuratively to describe perception. And this would be like the spiritual eye or the perceiving of spiritual truth. Now let's look at verses 19 through 21. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So what are some things that we are told about earthly treasures? Well, moth and rust and thieves are attracted to them. Now, we know that moths usually attach themselves to garments that are not frequently worn. The rust, the word used, the Greek word here is brosis, and it can be defined as eating and by inference food. So the idea is provisions or food are consumed if you stored that up. And then finally, what are thieves attracted to? Money and other valuable things. But gold and silver were primary things those days. Now, what are some things that we can take away from this? Well, everything on earth is subject to entropy, which means that it will be destroyed over time. And that the moth and rust and thieves are also dangerous to our soul, to our heart, because they attach to that. Now, what are we told about heavenly treasures? Well, they are a service to God. They are kind and merciful deeds done to others. In essence, they are our self-denial. They are not consumed by moths or rust or stolen, and they last for eternity. So what's important about whether we choose earthly treasures or heavenly treasures? Well, the danger is that our destiny will be determined by that. If we choose earthly treasures, then they will be stolen, they will be rotted, they will be consumed, and likewise, our destiny will be too. But heavenly treasures, they last for eternity. Now let's look at verses 22 and 23. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? The healthy eye. In the King James Version, it says the single eye. And that means it's capable of being wholly and consciously and calmly in agreement with God. And it gives true perception for the Spirit. Now, the bad eye, or in the King James Version, it says the evil eye, is subject to deception. There are three stages here. The first stage is darkness, and that would be the absence of light, or by implication, ignorance. The second stage would be obscured light or gray light, and this would be a misinterpretation caused by sin or prejudice. And then the third stage is blinding light, and this is where the truth is converted into a lie because of a worldly set point of view. Now let's look at verse 24. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. So the word serve, do we understand what that means? In this use here, it means to give everything that you have and that you are to the service of another. And God demands our whole service. There are two responses here to the two masters if you try this. There's going to be hate and love, or it's going to be despise or hold on to. Now, why these two choices? Well, I'm going to read you something that I found in one of the commentaries, which I think helps give it a good depth to this. The real master, who is God, cannot be despised, but may be hated, since he must be respected, and it is impossible to get away from him. We may hate his authority, but we cannot cast it off. If God, the real master, is loved by you, you will hold or cling to him, and you will despise worldly treasures or idols. And it is relatively easy to withdraw from their power. Now, if you look at it, we can only have one highest good and one highest principle. And if we try to do double service, we're going to end up being a traitor and a hypocrite. And I don't think any of us want to be that. So what are some summations that we can take from this? Well, it's important where we lay up our treasures, obviously. The inner man, or soul, was created for God, and he demands our whole service. True Christianity uses the spiritual life and the temporal life to use worldly possessions for the service of God. And one important thing is, because I get hung up on this also, Jesus did not teach that money was evil, but that the love of money was evil. So the bottom line is, if we chase after worldly possessions, treasure money, that is going to be slavery and idolatry. But service to Christ is liberty. Thanks for watching today.